So in the bottom left corner, we have the infested Terran Morrow spawning in the blue pieces, and we have the Protoss DuckloadRa as the red pieces.
Yeah, and you know what? I just want to say I just like how calm and how civil White Rod does his probe split. He just, nonchalantly selects 3, sends them off, another 3, sends them off. And it's just sort of that peacefulness. I see it every single time this guy starts to play. He puts himself into his own little Zen StarCraft world, and it just goes from there. And, of course, the intensity builds throughout the game. We got the first pylon going down. Now, what's interesting, and I want to ask your thoughts about, Day, is that if we just mimic the same builds that we had from the first game, this a real fast, aggressive push by White Rod might be much more difficult to hold off in this wide arena that is your natural expansion.
Yeah, at the same time, there's a lot bigger fear of counterattacks for Duckload, given how wide the map is, and given that there's that infamous back door that you can just slip those units right on around.
Oh, yeah.
Swing into Duckload's base. Very tough to deal with. But you know what? I even think that Morrow's play would actually be pretty reasonable on this map. Getting a layer tech too fast is generally the bane of Zergs, but I mean, if you're sticking on hatch tech, big defense, a lot of roaches and lings, I think you should be good. Just needs to make sure he gets that essential roach warren up very quickly.
All right, well, we'll be watching for that for sure. The spawning pool is just now being built. It's going to send 3 drones over to his gas. Meanwhile, Gateway more than halfway done. He is getting a gas as well, and we're going to see White Raw send out, put a pylon down here. Always good to do for that extra vision. The Xel'Naga base is actually quite big, especially early on, and just getting any extra vision in your base is nice. Overlord over the expansion, and the pool is about to pop here as we go into, or out of, or rather, the early stages of Game 2. Here for the SC Reddit Invitational, it's a best of 7 between White Raw and Morrow.
Yeah, and I kind of love what you were saying earlier on about the fact that Duckload does get in that zen state when he plays, because when you meet him, he's one of the funniest, loudest people you'll ever meet. In particular, his English is god-awful, but if you ever interview him, he will give you 2, 3, 4-minute long answers enthusiastically, making eye contact with you in the crowd. No one knows what he's saying, but it's awesome, right? Like, he's a totally jovial guy, but every single player, when they sit down to play a serious game, they get in the zone, because you need that intensity to be able to compete.
You really do, and he definitely holds on to that. The first Zerglings pop for Morrow. He's going to drop his hatchery as well, once again taking those drones off the gas and just pumping out the minerals. We have a queen down and out here for Morrow, and of course we have Warp Gate on the way. Overlord also just skirting right outside of White Raw's base, might be able to get into the back here, see if anything's built up on the lip, and we also have a Zealot there blocking that ramp, of course. Meanwhile, Probe going in through the back, and these Zerglings may find it, and he'll meet up and say, oh no you don't, and chases them away from his side of the map.
Yeah, I'm still trying to think about the way that Duckload's going to best want to open on this map. We see that he's getting 3 gateways right now. The 3 gateway early expand, very standard. Morrow, of course, doing almost the identical thing he did last game. I'm always a little concerned whenever I see a Zerg player open up with a gas pool opening, because a lot of them get the Zergling speed and the Zerglings out, but then do not play the rest of the game out correctly. This is one of those builds that if you're an average player, you will never lose to a worse player, but you will never beat a better player. So you always have to make sure that you're timing everything very carefully, and we do see those Zerglings from Morrow swinging all around the map, trying to find a good opportunity to get some information. And oh wow, it looks like White Raw's going to be going for a 4-gate, another aggressive opening.
Yeah, we've also got a probe going around through the back. We are going to have some lings pop up here, see some initial units, and see the pylon outside. So how he'll interpret that will be interesting to see. The hatch is up here for Morrow. He's got his second queen underway, and here comes that probe from White Raw. Going to swing around, might actually be able to stick his head in the base and see what's up. A queen is going to meet him. Oh, he backs off just perfect there and actually comes back around. He's doing some good job. I mean, he's going to be able to put that wherever he wants, and there it is. The pylon is placed. He might even be able to go up and get some high ground warpage if he wanted to, but nothing is on the way. Only 4 Zerglings. There's some more pop out, and we've got a few spy crawlers going down.
And oh no, he takes out the pylon as all the units are warping in. Oh my god, that is such a huge loss for DuckloadRa. Keep in mind, you do get that money back when you're in Duckload's position, but what you lost is any chance to be aggressive at all. And look at the Zergling swell by Morrow. He knows that DuckloadRa just lost the production cycle. He is moving cross map, and if he does a very nicely timed attack and target fires those sentries, he can do a lot of damage.
Well, his lings are starting to form up here, and I wonder if he's actually going to go ahead and do that. We see a forge going down at the front with another pylon. Ling is going to go back and check things out. Sees that the Nexus is only about halfway done, some more lings popping. He's going to move forward his spine crawlers and put them in a better position for himself. The Roach Warren still coming up here, and the lair is underway as well. Is he going to attack? Well, the lings are moving in that direction. They can at least get some good scouting and be used to control outside of the map. It looks like they're going to take out the rocks, and he might just prep for a third, and that's what he did in the last game too.
Yeah, I mean, definitely taking a third base relatively fast on Xel'Naga Caverns. Almost always going to be a good play. Looking around, we see Morrow again with the relatively delayed layer. Getting a Roach Warren now, always good to deal with some of those more aggressive mid-game pushes, like exactly what Duckload is gearing up to do now. We do see that Forge is out, no +1 upgrade quite yet, but we do see 99 energy on that main Nexus, so that could be a sign. But here comes Duckload. Morrow needs to focus a little bit. He's lost a few Zerglings. Every single Zergling counts. There's the Creep Tumor spread coming up right now. It looks like DuckloadRa is going to be able to pick off some of those. He is moving forward very aggressively. Good spine crawler placement by Morrow, so it looks like DuckloadRa will have to retreat. And the one thing that will let him be guaranteed a retreat is that sentry count. And the Queen, what is she doing out there? She gets blasted into pieces, so that is going to be a definite win for Duckload.
Yeah, got a little anxious getting those creep tumors out there. Now, here's where it was interesting. We saw Morrow move his spine crawlers over. He had control of that right choke. Now he's kind of put him right in the middle, and I love this position because either way, he's going to at least get the effectiveness out of one of them. And so he did retract or make DuckloadRa actually retreat there. He does have a probe, and he is going to know that this third is going to be coming. He'll now take out the gold as he, I would not be surprised based off of what we're seeing and how much money he has, if we possibly wouldn't even see two go down.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that is really fun to do as a Zerg is to gear up to take that gold expansion. You get much higher income, and as long as you spread your creep aggressively forward, you can do a lot of manipulations with the Protoss's positioning, gear up to do counterattacks and that sort of thing, plant spine crawlers well on the top right corner of that gold expo, and it's very tough for a lot of good Protosses to deal with. We do see that Roach Warren speed coming up. Layers finished. We don't really see any Overseers quite yet, but it does look like we see that there's that speed upgrade for Overlords. A little bit underused, I think, because people love the fact that they get one Overseer and can scout everything out. But it's only a little bit more to make every single one of your Overlords faster. And per usual, Morrow is amazing with his creep spread with those Overlords.
Yeah, and we do have some lings in the back here. It was suspect as DuckloadRa, I did believe, spot them with an observer. They are just sitting here in the back, and they are going to make their way in. They're going to go after the pylon and start hitting away at some of these probes, and he will actually immediately fall back. He doesn't want to lose any of those Zerglings. Going after the pylon now. In come the units. So once again is this little tiny push of DuckloadRa. At least he wanted to start moving forward, moving the map forward. Morrow restricts him once again with the lings and the small amount of units that he's got.
So great to do these sorts of counterattacks. I mean, I love those sort of counterattacks, especially on this map. But the real danger right now is that Morrow's in an awkward position. He has mainly lings and a handful of roaches. He would need to get a little bit higher tech, and it looks like, I mean, if you get good enough force fields thrown down, those Zealots and the Colossus tear everything up with that +1 attack upgrade.
We've got more Zerglings coming in. They might want to pop their head in, and it is interesting that you said that because Groove's Spines is just now starting, so he's got to be in a completely defensive position right now. Here we've got a probe getting taken out, possibly some pylons in the back. Will he get cancels off on those? It doesn't look like he get cancels off on that one, and once again, the army has to do the hokey pokey and make it all the way back to the base. And this third is going down, but he's going to have to defend that as well. Ling's going in again.
Such great play there by Morrow. This is always a classic, interesting struggle in StarCraft. One player, Morrow in this case, is going for a lot of low-tech units. That's why we see in the food count, he is ahead up at 141. But we see DuckloadRa, who did a lot of teching, has a little bit smaller of an army. So we're seeing the larger army of Morrow abuse this by doing a lot of counterattacks, trying to just nibble away at this force. So it's very well played by Morrow, but it's all going to come down to whether or not he can actually defend against this push.
Yeah, I was going to just say that, you know, with that observer there, very smart to start taking out some of those forward creep tumors. He's got to bring queens up in order to replenish those. So I at least like the fact that he's just now kind of taken his spot in the middle. He's moving forward. More Lings in the back as they continue their harassment. That one cannon has actually been doing great. And so finally, Morrow will say, I am going to work on that. I'm going to take it out. Meanwhile, more Lings going in, taking out a few probes. Again, not doing a ton of damage. And that time, DuckloadRa was like, I can handle this. I'm not going to move my army back, and so he didn't. We just have a couple more Lings chilling there, and he's going to let that one just beat away for a little bit.
Yeah, but the big issue for Morrow is that he's buying himself a lot of time, but the real question is, what is he going to do with that time? Because we're seeing Duckload just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and now he's moving forward with this very large Colossus army. He's even getting Void Race, sticking on the narrow side on the right, picking off that gold. Here comes the rush down by Morrow, advancing forward. There's the Guardian Shield thrown down. Not that many force fields. There they go down, and now cutting off those Hydras. The Corruptors are doing a lot of damage because there are 10 of them out on the map right now. Looks like they're falling pretty quickly, and maybe DuckloadRa will be able to come out alive. Another Colossus comes in, and there's the swell of Stalkers, and Duckload looks like he's actually broken Morrow.
Yeah, I think so. We got a few Corruptors, and they are going to get taken down. And honestly, I think it was the Colossi that deserved the medals there. But the other thing is that the Void Rays just served as kind of a big distraction. He was focusing on those air units. Now we've got DuckloadRa moving in for the third base. And he's going to be able to take this one out as well, as Morrow just cannot reinforce it quick enough. Now the Void Ray is becoming hugely effective as only a few Hydras are actually making it out of those hatcheries. Just a lot of roaches down here. Drones coming out, and I think this one is over.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be so difficult for Morrow to be able to defend. He's trying to get the roaches up to help against those gateway units, but the Void Rays do quite well against the roaches, seeing as they cannot shoot up. A few Hydras pop out. Morrow's going to have to do the full-out retreat. Morrow's just going to let that base fall, see if he can regroup and do another big power play. We see that some Zerglings try to do a little bit of counterattacking at that north main, but look at that cannon at the natural expansion of Duckload. 11 kills on it, being the hero defending against the counterattack. And with that gold expo up, Duckload hardly needs to be that aggressive, just needs to continue to shut down expansions, and he will be able to pull ahead.
Yeah, and, you know, this is really rough for Morrow. He's got only a handful of Hydras out. He's got to repopulate his Corruptors, which will mostly take care of that Air Force that's going on. But, you know, which do you choose? Do you choose the Colossus? Do you go with the Void Rays? You know, based off of which one? And here we go. They're going to go in again.
And it looks like the Hydras are doing some massive damage, but they are still getting cut down because there's just a seemingly infinite amount of Duckload units. And that might be the last stand for Morrow. There's the good game. Morrow leaves after some great defense by